this video, we're headed to a famed pub in London, England for a conversation with aviation legend, Captain Chris. I'm also going to show you the crew rest area on the 767, and I'm going to get in a fight with one of my friends. Sort of. You ready? Let's go.
My name's Paul. I fly airplanes for a living, but my passion is encouraging you to explore this beautiful world by giving you a glimpse into my layover life. I started flying the 757 and 767 when I was 30 years old, and believe it or not, I never drank coffee until then. Maybe my palate changed, but my guess is it had something to do with staying up all night to fly to Europe 4 or 5 times a month. Now, like most people, it's become one of those things I look forward to every morning. And if you can time it with a sunrise drive to a career you love, well, it tastes that much better.
This is my first trip back in 18 days. I had 18 days off, which is absolutely crazy. That wasn't all vacation. I had 1 week of vacation, but then I had 11 days off before that, which was amazing. It was supposed to be a little bit less, but you may remember I got stuck in Paris for 2 days, so the company actually took 2 days off of my schedule for this past month. So that worked out great. So we got to go out to Hawaii for spring break and spend some quality time together. And actually, because I got 2 extra days off, I put those 2 days in front of my already 9 days off, in front of my vacation. And so we were able to go out to Hawaii a couple days early and just spend a great time together. And I didn't really film much out there because I wanted to spend time with my family, and it was absolutely awesome. So headed to London tonight, and actually that's what I'm doing all month. I have a whole month of London trips. It's the kind of junior Europe trip, but I'm happy with that. A month of London, it's the best. Okay, I gotta go catch the train. Let's go. I'm a little late to the game, but on our flights to and from Hawaii, I kind of fell in love with the show Ted Lasso. So, on my commute from Minneapolis to Newark, I watched a couple episodes in preparation for the layover. After arriving in Terminal A, I took the bus over to Terminal C and headed to the United Club. Even though I don't teach people how to fly anymore, my flight instructor rating was up for renewal, so I spent a couple hours taking an online course to keep it up to date. I also got caught up on the latest Karen Nate video before finally heading downstairs to our crew lounge. If there's a backstage for pilots, this is it. And like most backstage areas, it's not as glamorous as you might think. But we have a dark room that's full of recliners and is a good spot to rest before an all-night flight to London.
Examiner Captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you on board United Flight 14, service now to London Heathrow. We'll be pushing back here very shortly. Once we're route tonight, 6 hours, 35 minutes. Should be relatively smooth overall, maybe a little bit of light turbulence during the first hour to hour and a half, but overall a very nice flight tonight. On our arrival into London, beautiful day tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Temperature on our arrival should be right around 13 degrees centigrade, which is 55 degrees Fahrenheit. If there's anything we can do to make your flight more enjoyable tonight, please don't hesitate to ask. From all of us at United, welcome on board. Enjoy.
It is really nice to be back in London. I used to avoid London because it was the junior trip, and the main reason for that is the van time. It takes over an hour to get from the airport to the hotel, so we landed at 7:05 today. We got to the gate, and it is currently 9:15. I just got to the hotel. So it takes a long time to get to the hotel, which is one of the reasons it's the most junior trip when it comes to like Europe trips. The other reasons would be that it pays the least. We get paid by the hour. And because London pays like 15.5 hours for Newark to London and back, if you can go to Milan and make 18.5 hours on a 3-day trip, the same 3-day trip, you do that 4 times a month. Now you have 12 extra hours in your paycheck at the end of the month. So that's the reason London's so junior. The van time is long, the pay
pay is the least amount you can get for a Europe trip, and security's kind of a pain compared to other European destinations. So this afternoon, I'm meeting up with my friend Captain Chris. We're headed to a pub for kind of, if you've seen the show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, I'm kind of hoping for the same thing. Pilots and pubs, I don't know, talking planes, getting pints, something like that. Should be a fun afternoon. I'm gonna take a nap though, because I'm pretty tired. So this afternoon, we're headed to a pub for pilots and pubs, talking planes. We'll see you then.
Good afternoon, this is your guard. Welcome on board this Southwestern Railway service to Windsor and Eton Riverside. This service will be calling at Vauxhall, Clapham Junction, Putney, Richmond, Twickenham, Whitton, Belton, Ashford, Staines, Raysbury, Sunnymead, Datchet, and Windsor and Eton Riverside.
Just getting off the train at Richmond, and if you're a fan of the show Ted Lasso, you'll know that this is the town where the show is filmed. Just got to find Captain Chris now. There he is.
Richmond Station.
What's that?
Richmond Station.
Richmond Station.
How you going,
All right,
buddy?
Good. Good to see you.
You know where we're going? We're going to an English pub.
Yeah. Not just an English pub.
We're going to a pretty famous English pub.
Pretty famous English pub.
Fantastic.
Chris is an Airbus 350 captain for a major airline. We originally met through Instagram and became fast friends. Today, we're at the Princess Head, also known as the Crown and Anchor, in the hit show Ted Lasso.
How cool is this corner? You see that?
So this is the Ted Lasso corner.
This is very cool. This is very, very cool. Be even cooler if I'd seen the show.
Way cooler.
Yeah, be a lot cooler. Oh,
Yeah.
Look at this. Fantastic.
Sweet.
Gin and tonic.
Awesome.
And a cool.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, guy.
Fantastic.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Good
Cheers
see
to
you
London.
again. Yeah.
Thank you for the
Cheers.
invite.
Yeah, this is
Thank you very much indeed.
amazing.
Oh, nice.
Tell me about your Instagram journey.
Oh, the Instagram. So,
because you've got a lot of followers, almost over 400,000.
yeah.
And
How did it happen?
how did it happen?
There's a guy on the Instagram called Dude with a Sign. He's in New
Yeah,
York
yeah.
and he holds up a
Yeah, yeah.
piece of cardboard sign with just some funny comment on every day,
Right.
right? And my son showed me this and he said, why don't you do one, Dad, with your pilot's uniform holding up a sign above your head saying something. I go, what? And we brainstormed it. I said, what? And he said, well, the pandemic, everybody's going into the shops buying toilet paper, but you want people to buy airline tickets. And I
Right.
went, yeah. And so he came up with the idea of buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper.
Right.
And it was a sign. So this pilot in his uniform holding up a big sign with a blue sky behind saying,
Yeah.
buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper. And it went crazy.
Yeah.
Because it was like a meme.
So when you posted that, you had 1,000 followers?
1,000 followers.
No kidding. Gosh.
And then people just contacted me and said, can I repost this? Yeah, can I repost this? Can I? And travel agents and then news and CNN News did an article about it and Fox News called me and BBC News and news companies in Germany, Italy, all around the world saying, can we use this image as an image of the pandemic and what it's like for pilots who are all grounded?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, actually, my son's idea was a fantastic idea because here I am, it's like I'm a guy at the side of the road with a sign, buy airline tickets to keep us flying.
Right.
Because remember at the time of the pandemic, it was like a bad flu, and most of us thought, we'll be flying by summer. This is in March. April.
I thought it was going to be like a snowstorm.
Yeah, it's going to be like that.
A couple days. Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe we'll be grounded for a couple of months,
Yeah.
but by summer we'll be back flying again, no problem.
Yeah.
So I wrote that sign there going, please buy tickets, because if you buy airline tickets, it keeps the promise in aviation, it will help everybody involved in the industry, so that by the summer we can all go flying again.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, there's probably a lot of people who bought tickets based on my sign that never got a reimbursement. I'm really sorry to those people, because I didn't intend it to be that. I was just trying to promote aviation. And it did promote aviation, and people did buy tickets, and a lot of people did actually continue flying through 2020. Not many, but some people continued to fly. People had to fly sometimes. Yeah. And then our airline grounded more than half of our fleet, but we continue flying, doing cargo. And that's when it became so popular, that sign, that a guy called Richard Branson, might have heard of him, he actually contacted my management and said, this Captain Chris, what's he doing? They said, well, he's at home in France, he can't get to England. So I got a phone call saying, if you can get to England, we're going to fly you flat out so you can just keep promoting aviation and promote the airline. I went, yeah, sure. So I remember taking this flight, and remember, there's a virus that we all thought we were going to die from.
Right.
So I'm washing my hands, I've got the mask on, I go to the airport, and I'm one of, I think about 5 people flying from Toulouse, where I live in France, up to Paris. And remember, Air France used to have 45 flights a day on that network. Now they've got one. And I was one of 5 people on that flight traveling this dangerous route, and all the crew all got their masks on and washing their hands. There was no food, drinks, nothing. And then I did the same from Paris across to London. I got to London, and then I basically lived at Heathrow Airport in a hotel. I was in a quarantine hotel. I paid for it myself, and I started flying. And that was interesting as well, because the hotel, they just said, no, there's no cleaners, so just leave all your stuff in one room. You go flying, when you come back, all your stuff will still be there. Just call us up for towels or whatever else you want, but that's your room for the pandemic. And it was really weird. And then what was happening is I'd be then documenting it. I'd be walking through the airport, said, this is what Heathrow Airport looks like today. This is what it looks like with no passengers. And I was then filming on board the airplanes, because the airplanes were still quite new, showing people what the interiors looked like and saying, hey, buy some tickets, because when we can fly again, you'll be flying on this big jet. And the ticket sales were still going through, and people were writing to the booking staff saying, Captain Chris told me to buy a ticket, so I've bought a ticket for next year to Orlando. Maybe some of those people didn't go flying either, but nobody knew. It was just this whole promise of let's get flying. The other thing that was doing is, I'm going on now, but the other thing that was doing is about 50% of my colleagues were grounded during the pandemic.
Yeah.
They lost their jobs because they were on the wrong fleet. Right, and we've been through that before. I'm sure you've been through it. I've been through it many times. You know, and so I knew what that was like to be stuck at home with no information. So I was now also providing information for my colleagues, saying, "Hey, we're still flying to LA every day. We're still flying to Johannesburg every day. We don't have many passengers, but the airplane is full of cargo. We're taking off today at maximum takeoff weight, so we're full. You know,
and you're giving them hope.
And I'm giving them hope.
Yeah.
And then the best thing happened was at the start of 2021. As a training captain, I was now training the guys that had been on furlough and been grounded, coming back to the cockpit. So I would meet them at the simulator with our masks and no shaking of hands and fist bumps and that. Right. And we get in the simulator and I'd be retraining them to get their 3 takeoffs and landings and their LPC, OPCs and all their licensing, so then they could go back to line training. And every time I posted a picture of one of these guys in the simulator, another guy at home was saying, hey, he's back now. And he's back now, and she's back now. And it made people have some more hope that they'll be back flying soon. Right. And that really, really worked. Yeah. And that was the best thing. The best thing about the whole pandemic and Instagram was seeing these people coming back to work. And at the same time, the general public also loved this. So the flying public, not just pilots and cabin crew, the flying public, the people who fly on their airplanes, loved it. Yeah. They thought this is amazing. Right. And that's where the numbers came up on the Instagram.
Because they're not seeing it every day. Like, you're kind of flying through the pandemic.
That's right.
But you're seeing, like, we're out here.
Yes.
But they might think nobody's flying.
No, but they saw that people were still flying.
Right.
So it was promoting aviation. It was a positive story. And everything I've always done was I've tried to put a positive feel on everything I post. And every time I post, I think, am I inspiring people to become pilots? Am I educating people on what we do as pilots? And is it entertaining? Yeah. Right? Those 3 things, that's always.
You want to do 3, all of them?
No.
Just one of the
Every
3.
time I post, I think it has to be one of those 3. But sometimes it's all 3.
Yeah.
You know, I can't give examples, but every time I post, before I go post, I think, is it inspiring? Is it educational? And or is it entertaining? Yeah. And that's the only reason I post.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what people
And that's
want.
what's been successful. Now, do I make money out of Instagram? None. But I choose not to. It's just fun. Yeah. I still enjoy it. I've got nothing to sell except positivity. And it also helps my mental health, which is an important thing as well.
Yeah. But even though you're not making money, you're still getting experiences that maybe some other people aren't.
Absolutely, 100%.
Which is
I get to meet you.
Well,
that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of people through Instagram.
Yeah.
A lot of really nice people, and a lot of people who do what we do, and people who are involved in aviation.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on helicopter flights with Sam Chewy. I've flown Spitfires with friends of mine. I've been on business jets.
Yeah.
I've been invited to fly the Concorde simulator.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff that most people don't get the opportunity to do, but Instagram has given me that opportunity, which is amazing.
Yeah. On your Instagram, you post a lot of photos with cabin crew and the 360 camera. And how do you create a team in such a short period of time?
I think just a bit of a laugh when you walk in the crew room.
Right.
Hey guys, and we're stand 33. And they go, well, that's the long one. You got heels. I don't have heels. You're wearing heels. Right. Make a joke about something. Yeah. You know, make it real. Make it. Yeah. Have a bit of empathy for what's going on with the crew. Right. Know them and know what they like, what they don't like. Yeah. And remember, when I started flying, when I was a 30-year-old captain. So I was the same age as them 30 years ago. So I used to walk in and say, hey guys, how you doing? Blah, blah. I was like the same age. now I'm older than most of their dads.
Yeah.
And that's a really different dynamic. But I've done those generations.
Sure.
So now I walk in, I'm the old grey hair guy, and I'm very aware that they might go, oh, he might be grumpy. Because they might have seen grumpy old grey hair guys before. So I still walk in and a smile costs nothing. You say, hey guys, how you doing? Where are you off to? We're at LA, aren't we? And they go, no, we're at Atlanta. I go, have I got the wrong room? And you just crack a joke, a stupid joke like that.
Right.
I know it's Atlanta, isn't it? And then you play the stupid old man who doesn't know where he's going today, and they're like, does he know where he's going? Yeah, Atlanta, isn't it? You look at the first officer, just crack a joke, make it funny.
Yeah.
And then they run with you, and they see what sort of personality you are. And like you say, if you set the tone at the start, that will carry through the whole trip.
Right. When you look back on your career, is there anything you would change from 30 years ago? Or?
Yeah, be nice. Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Aviate, navigate, be nice.
Yeah. I like this. Aviate, navigate, be nice.
Not that difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Take any job.
Right.
Any job. Because once you've got a job, it's so much easier to get the next one.
Yeah.
If you're not currently flying, you're not getting any experience, you're not getting any recency.
And you're not meeting people.
And you're not meeting people.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if you're flying a King Air around the countryside,
you're meeting people.
You're still meeting people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any really special trips that you took with your kids?
My kids were born in my mid-30s, and I was still quite a young captain, so every Christmas I knew I'm going to have to work.
Yeah.
So if you know you're going to have to work, pick a trip that you want to do.
Right.
And so we had this 5 or 6 night LA called the VS-23, and it was on the 23rd of December, and I did that most years. And I'd take the kids along with me, and we'd go snowboarding up at Big Bear. We'd rent a house, before Airbnb, we'd rent a nice house, like a log cabin with an open fire, a jacuzzi, and like we chose Big Bear because we could go snowboarding and things like that at Big Bear, which is such great
awesome.
memories.
Yeah.
And so my kids now, and I say to a lot of people, like kids, right? If I say to my daughter, Big Bear, whichever year, did you get an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8? She go, I don't know.
Right.
Because you don't remember that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't remember what you got for Christmas, but you remember you went to Big Bear and you went snowboarding.
Yeah.
And it's a classic example of like how important moments are in things.
Yeah.
Moments are so much more precious than things.
For sure.
iPhone 7 or iPhone, what do you want? iPhone 7 or iPhone 8 for Christmas?
Yeah.
I want to go to Big Bear.
Right.
That's so much more important.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'd much rather buy experiences than a touristy T-shirt or whatever, Which is why, like we were just in Hawaii, like we went swimming with sharks. That's something my kids will never forget. How many 13-year-olds have been in the water, looked down in the ocean? The ocean's a mile deep, and there's a shark swimming around. How many 13-year-olds have done that?
Not many.
They all have an iPhone or whatever. But
exactly. Every kid that age has an iPhone.
Yeah.
And my daughter, I'm just saying, we did another Christmas. We went to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't fly there, but we just went, let's go somewhere different. Right? So we went to the Great Barrier Reef because I had time off for once. And we went scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, same thing. And it's just like such a cool memory.
Yeah.
Again, which iPhone did you get that there? Who cares?
I don't remember.
Don't know.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But we went scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. That was such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And our job allows us to do that.
When I started coming to Europe all the time, I think that's when I fell in love with travel. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I'm like on a Paris layover. I went to Normandy. Like, this is Omaha Beach. Yeah. This is where it happened. Yeah. And then, a couple weeks after that, I went to Omaha Beach. I was at my dad's. He belongs to a gun club, and there was a guy there who was a medic on Omaha Beach on D-Day.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, hey, I was at Omaha Beach. He's like, yeah, me too.
Me too. But nobody was shooting.
Your experience was not the same. It's amazing the history that people have that are older than us, older than you, older than me.
And they would have come back to this pub and talked about those stories.
Right.
This pub was here for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And as an American, as an Australian, we're not used to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to it because I've been living in England for a long time. Yeah. But pubs have so much history.
Yeah.
Somebody sat in this seat after coming back from that war.
Yeah.
And from the First World War. Somebody sat where you are now in the same spot.
Right.
After coming from that and seeing his friends being killed.
Yeah.
And they sat in this pub and they probably didn't want to talk about their stories.
Right.
But they came in here for a drink.
Yeah.
To be with their people.
Yeah. It's important, I think, to debrief.
Yeah.
All of life, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, we're the lucky generation.
Yeah.
However, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza Strip's all kicking off again. That's another thing I'm very conscious of. A lot of young people write to me and say, I want to be a pilot, Chris, but I live here in a part of the world where it's almost impossible to become a pilot.
Yeah.
But I do to give them hope. I say, look, nothing's impossible because there are people who fly airplanes in your country.
Yeah.
You need to contact them and find out how they managed to do it.
Right.
Because nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
Your country has airplanes, yours has flying schools. It's
can
more
do
difficult,
it.
you
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
But also get the young guys in the UK go, yeah, but it's £150,000. And I go, okay. So you see me as an airline captain, you think, I just had 150 grand. My parents didn't have that.
Yeah.
We went for caravan holidays. I was the eldest of 4 kids. We didn't go to posh schools. My parents didn't pay for any of my flying. I paid for it myself.
Yeah.
I worked as a paperboy since I was 10.
Yeah.
I delivered newspapers. I worked to get my flying lessons. So I paid for it all myself.
Yeah.
So I know that I can do it. Here's the other thing is, 150 grand, that's the price of a Lamborghini. Right? If you get a Lamborghini or a Korea, which one would you choose?
Right.
And the problem is most people go out of the Lamborghini, a devaluating item.
Yeah.
Whereas a Korea, a pilot's license, is something that will take you through a whole lifetime.
Right.
And a lot of people can't see that, it's an investment in you. If you invested 150 grand on the stock market, you might make a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, right, that's going to go down in value, unless it's a classic. But 150 grand seems like a huge amount of money, but it's you, your life,
Right.
your future,
Yeah.
right? And you've earned that back many, many, many times over,
Many
like I
times.
have,
Yeah.
many times over.
Yeah.
So 150 grand doesn't seem that big now. It is when you're 18. It's
For
a huge
sure.
amount. It's an impossible
But there's a
figure.
way to do it.
But you can do it. I did it.
Yeah.
You did it. We all did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was really
awesome,
good.
man.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
This is a good night.
It was a really good night. There's 11A.
11A.
It's cool, isn't it?
Ted's house.
The next morning, it was back out to the airplane, where we had a new crew of flight attendants to brief, and then it was off to Newark. Pro tip, if you're ever departing runway 27 left from London, sit on the left-hand side of the airplane so you can see the Concorde right before takeoff.
United 905, runway 27 left, clear for takeoff, surface wind 220 degrees at 10. Clear for takeoff, runway 27 left, United 905. I control United 905, climbing 4.1 for 6,000. United 905, hello, climb now level 100. Flight level 100, United 905.
I really love London, and I'm so glad that it's a junior trip because that means I get to go there all the time, and literally every time I'm there, there's something new to see, and I just absolutely love it. We're obviously on our way back now. I'm sure you know on long flights we have 3 pilots, which means that every pilot gets a break, and I just started my break. So currently the first officer and international relief officer, or IRO, are up in the cockpit. I'm on break. Today the breaks are 2 hours and 12 minutes. And before I take a nap, I wanted to give you a quick tour of our crew rest area. The crew rest area on the 767 is basically a Polaris seat. On 787s and 777s, they have a room or a crew bunk that has beds and chairs that the pilots can use. But on the 767, we just get a Polaris seat. It has all the same things that a normal Polaris seat has: a TV, amenity kits, headphones, a reclining seat, the whole thing. The main difference is the pilot crew rest seat has a curtain around it. That way we're not interrupted by anybody. When the cabin crew starts their service, it doesn't wake us up. So, speaking of that, I'm gonna go take a nap. Good night.
Some days, commuting back and forth between Minneapolis and Newark is incredibly stressful. But some days, I get a first-class seat. and today was one of those days. After I landed, I checked our bidding software, and I was pleased to see that
On the flight home, I got my schedule for next month. You'll never guess what it is. London, and Shannon, actually, which is another one of our junior trips. I also have a week of vacation, but most importantly, I got all the days off that I wanted. Follow along, maybe I'll trade one of those trips for something else. Until then, I've got time before I go home to do one of my favorite things. Fight with my friends. Let's go. Come to my web.
Our gym has an unofficial saying, better every day. I like to surround myself with people I can learn from, like my friend Phil here, or my friend Chris in London. Whether it's in aviation or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, success isn't about wins and losses. It's about being the best version of yourself, both on and off the mats.
In this video, we're headed to a famed pub in London, England for a conversation with aviation legend, Captain Chris. We're also going to show you... Always coming back to get the camera. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I was about to yell cut on that one. Cut!
So, do you watch Ted Lasso?
It's on my watch list. I notice every time I go onto Apple TV, it comes up, watch this, and I go, yeah, one day I will.
Yeah. So, when you do watch it,
Yeah.
this is the pub I go to. And then his house is right here.
Near tit for tat.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the address on the show is 9.5 paved court,
Okay.
but in real life it's 11 paved court.
Okay. Yeah, the classic airline captain is the one who's been divorced 3 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the unicorn.
Yeah, right.
I'm still married to the same woman for 30 years.
20 years this year for us.
So it's worth it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's cheaper. I'm gonna step out and use the restroom. I might stop the cameras too.
Take the baby off.
Feel like we got enough?
I think you got plenty.
You can keep it on. We might just walk through the park or something later.
Okay. A walk in the park.
Daydreaming. Until I'm ready to do the spark! Squeeze it out of me.